Hey friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be talking about some of the things that one needs to consider before retiring. First, one must determine how much money they will require to live comfortably after retirement. One can do so by taking their current annual income and dividing it by the number of years they plan on living after retirement. They can then multiply this number by the average inflation rate to obtain an accurate estimate. Many people fail to plan for retirement because they don't know how much they will be required to retire, and they don't know what they will be doing in retirement. You must make sure you have a reasonable amount set aside for retirement so that you won't run out of money when you reach old age. Retirees often find themselves living off savings and Social Security benefits alone. But what if you could make your money work harder for you? You can take advantage of compound interest to build wealth faster than ever before. With a little planning and discipline, you can retire early and enjoy a lifetime of financial security. Retirement is a time for relaxation and enjoyment, but it can also be a period of stress if you don't know what to do with yourself during your free time. Most people don't really have plans for how they'd spend their retirement, so they often feel bored and restless instead of happy and relaxed. Fortunately, there are many things you can do to make your retirement a lot more fun and relaxing. Retirement is a big thing. You're no longer going to work for somebody else, and you'll be able to do whatever you'd like to do. But with so much thinking to do, you need to figure out many things before you can actually get there. So, we've got a list of questions to help you through the process. We also have some answers to your questions. Retiring early means spending less time at work, having more free time for yourself, and being able to enjoy quality time with family and close friends. To be able to retire early or enjoy an easy life later on, you must begin saving now. If you're considering retiring, there are a number of factors you'll need to consider. First of all, it's important to decide exactly what kind of lifestyle you'd like to live after you retire. Are you hoping to travel? Do you want to spend more time with friends and family? Or perhaps you just want to relax and enjoy life without having to worry about working. Whatever you choose, you'll need to figure out what you can afford. You will also need to make sure you have a good plan in place for your future. A lot of people assume they'll get a pension once they reach 65. But if you've worked hard throughout your career, you might not be able to rely on that. That's why it's so important to start saving as soon as possible. You may not be able to save much right now, but as you grow older, you'll find yourself putting aside more and more each month. When you retire, you'll be able to enjoy life without having to worry about earning an income. But before you retire, you'll need to save enough money so that you won't have to rely on others for financial support. How much should you set aside? You may not realize how much you will need for retirement until you get there. Start saving now. Retirement planning is something that many people put off until they're too old to do anything about it. While younger folks can easily take their financial futures for granted, older people often find themselves faced with a number of challenges. For example, losing your job could end up owing money on a home loan. Or, if you own a house, you might not be able to sell it because you no longer qualify for a mortgage. And suppose you've already paid into an employer-sponsored pension plan. In that case, you'll likely face a significant tax bill when you retire. Suppose you haven't thought about how much money you'll need to retire before you're forced to take money from your retirement account. In that case, you should probably start saving now so that you have enough money saved up when you eventually reach retirement age. And if you haven't set aside an emergency fund yet, then you should definitely do that too. Here are some things you can do to get ready for retirement. Start early. Planning early can help you save money. Start saving today if you haven't already done so. You may not realize how much you spend every month, but if you track your spending carefully, you can figure out where your money goes and what you could do to cut back. Calculate your net worth. Calculating your net worth can tell you where you stand financially. You might want to know just how wealthy you are, what you owe, and whether you're better off today than you were yesterday. You can use an online tool to figure out your net worth. These calculators take into account everything from your salary to your investments. Net worth is calculated by subtracting liabilities from assets. Assets include things like cash, property, vehicles, and retirement accounts. Liabilities include debt like mortgages and credit cards. The most common way to measure your net worth is to add up all of your assets minus all of your debts. If you do that, you'll find out how much money you have left over once you pay off your bills. If you want to know how much money you've got in savings, you can subtract your total liabilities from your total assets. To calculate your net worth, start by adding up all of your assets. This could mean checking your bank statements, looking at your investment portfolio, or reviewing your tax returns. Next, list all of your debts. Make sure to include any loans or lines of credit, such as student loans or car payments. Then, subtract those numbers from your asset totals. Downsize your debt. Debt consolidation can help you pay off your credit cards quickly, but it doesn't always work out well for consumers. If you're paying too many bills, consider downsizing your debt by consolidating all your bills into one monthly payment. You'll likely see better savings in the long run. You might think that having multiple creditors makes it easier to manage your finances, but in reality, it just adds another bill to your plate. Consolidation allows people to focus on what matters most, says Matt Schulz, co-founder of Credit Sesame. If you consolidate your debts, you won't have to worry about making payments every single week. The best way to do this is to take advantage of low interest rates and negotiate lower loan amounts. For example, say you owe $10,000 on 3 different credit card accounts. Instead of paying those balances separately, you could combine them into one larger balance. This would allow you to make fewer monthly payments and save more money overall. Another benefit of consolidation is that you can avoid late fees and penalties. If you miss a payment, you'll incur additional charges, like finance charges and collection costs. But if you consolidate your debt, you will only be responsible for one payment. Ask yourself some questions to find out whether consolidation is right for you. Do you feel overwhelmed by managing multiple bills? Are you concerned about missing payments? Does your current situation require immediate action? If you answered yes to any of those questions, consolidation might be your answer. Save for long-term goals. You might not think about how much you spend each month while you're working, but once you stop working, those bills won't go away. Make sure you save enough money to last at least 5 years after you retire. If you need help getting started, consider using an online tool like Mint to track where your money goes. Building a diversified income plan. We have been talking about financial planning since we launched our online money management service in 2012. In fact, it was one of the very first topics we covered. So why do people still struggle with it? Why are they afraid to talk about it? And how can they make sure they don't miss out on opportunities to build wealth? This article provides some tips on how to start building a diversified income plan. The key to success lies in understanding what makes you unique and differentiates you from others. What skills do you possess that no one else does? What talents do you have that set you apart from everyone else? These are the things that separate you from the crowd. They give you an edge over others. As you look at yourself, think about the qualities that make you special. Think about what sets you apart from others. You might find that there are many areas where you excel. For example, maybe you are great at writing, speaking, web relations, teaching, coaching, consulting, mentoring, organizing events, managing projects, working with clients, or even selling products and services. Whatever it is, you probably know how to do it. How much income will you have in retirement? Social Security benefits are supposed to provide about half of your pre-retirement earnings. But how much will it really pay out? And what happens if you don't live long enough to collect? These questions are important because many rely heavily on retirement Social Security payments. A recent survey found that nearly 3/4 of Americans plan to take some form of government assistance during retirement. The good news is that most retirees won't have to worry about running out of cash. You'll receive a benefit equal to roughly 50% of your average lifetime earnings. However, several factors could reduce the size of your check. For example, earning $100,000 per year might only receive around $50,000 in benefits. If you retire at age 65, you'll start receiving checks starting at 62. If you want to make sure you have enough savings to support yourself in retirement, you need to figure out how much you'll need every month. This requires calculating your average annual income, which is based on your expected salary over a 40-year career. Once you know how much you'll need to save each month, you can calculate how much you'll need overall. You can use our calculator to estimate how much you'll need. Just enter information such as your expected salary, number of children, and marital status. Then select whether you want to include taxes or inflation in your calculations. You can also adjust the length of your working life and the percentage of your paycheck that goes toward retirement contributions. Once you've calculated your numbers, you'll find that you probably won't have enough saved up to meet your needs. Retirement is a big thing. It's a time when you won't be working anymore, and it's a chance to spend more time doing things you enjoy. However, with so much to consider, you need answers to many questions before you can actually reach the point of retirement. Retirement is a time for relaxation. It is a time to travel, visit family, and enjoy life. However, retirement can also be stressful if you don't know what to do with yourself. Most people don't have a plan for how to spend their retirement. You can do many things to make your retirement time fun, but there are also lots of things you can try to make it stressful. When you retire, your future depends on your savings. Your retirement plan should include saving money and investing wisely so that you can get the maximum return on your investment. Here are some tips on how to invest and save for retirement. Retirement planning is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. It's a time when you'll be able to spend more quality time with your family, enjoy life, and live a more relaxed lifestyle. However, it can also be stressful if you don't plan ahead. In this article, I'll go over some of the things you need to think about before retirement. For some people, work is something that they hate. They may feel trapped by their jobs and wish that they could live a simpler lifestyle instead. Others find that they love their jobs and are very happy to be able to provide for themselves and their families. Me, I love being an accountant. I love helping businesses grow and prosper. I love seeing companies succeed and thrive. In addition, I love knowing that I'm providing for myself and my family. I also appreciate having the flexibility to choose where I work each day. I also love that I'm able to contribute towards saving for retirement and paying off debt. I love my career, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I have enough saved up to meet your needs. To ensure you have enough money to survive, you will need to increase your savings. In fact, according to the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, you'll need to put away about 10 times your annual spending. This calculation assumes that you won't work beyond the traditional retirement age. Many workers choose to continue working part-time or full-time well into their 60s. If you do, you may be able to boost your benefits by collecting both Social Security and employer-sponsored pensions. Invest wisely. Once you decided on a financial strategy, you'll need to find ways to invest your money. There are many different options out there, but here are 4 things you should keep in mind before investing. Know your risk tolerance. If you're willing to take greater risks with your investments, you may be able to earn higher returns. However, if you prefer a lower risk portfolio, you may be better off sticking to index funds and ETF. Consider fees. Investing isn't free even though you might hear otherwise. Fees add up over time, eating into your investment return. Try to avoid paying high annual costs whenever possible. Look beyond traditional investments. There are plenty of alternative investment options out there, including real estate, private equity, commodities, and even fine art. These aren't always appropriate for everyone but can provide additional opportunities to build wealth. Will you work in retirement? Retirement is often thought of as being synonymous with the word end rather than a transitional stage. But there are many things to consider before deciding whether to retire. For one thing, you want to make sure you're financially prepared for life without a paycheck. And while some retirees enjoy spending more time doing the activities they love, others prefer to spend less time working and more time relaxing. There are different ways to plan ahead for retirement. You might choose to save money now, or you could put off saving for retirement until later. If you don't have enough saved up, you might decide to take out loans to pay for expenses like mortgage payments or medical bills. Or you might decide to keep working part-time. Consider retirement side jobs. Retirement isn't just about sitting around watching TV. In fact, it's often a great opportunity to start earning some extra cash. If you're looking for something to do during retirement, consider starting a blog, freelancing, teaching English online, or even tutoring. You might even want to look into home-based businesses like selling crafts or handmade items. Estimate your retirement expenses. Retirement planning isn't just about saving money. You'll want to make sure you're prepared financially for what lies ahead. If you've never done it before, here are some things to consider. 1. How long do you plan to live? 2. What type of lifestyle do you want once you retire? 3. Do you plan to travel? 4. Will you need help paying bills? 5. Are there any special needs you might have? 6. Have you planned for healthcare costs? Consider future medical costs. If you plan to retire early, consider purchasing long-term care insurance. This type of policy pays out benefits when you become unable to take care of yourself financially. You can use it to cover things like nursing home expenses, assisted living facilities, adult daycare centers, hospice care, and more. A health savings account is an excellent option for saving money for retirement healthcare costs. These accounts allow you to set aside pre-tax dollars to pay for qualified medical expenses. They are similar to flexible spending accounts, except that HSA contributions aren't limited to health-related expenses. Long-term care insurance provides coverage for long-term care costs, such as those incurred while staying in a nursing home. If you already have Medicare Part B, you could qualify for Medigap policies to help cover additional costs. Evaluate your health now. The third step in managing your diabetes involves evaluating your overall health. This includes making sure you are eating well, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep, and taking care of your mental health. You might want to consider scheduling regular appointments with your doctor. Evaluating your health now will help you avoid complications down the road. If you notice changes in your blood sugar levels, make sure you see your doctor right away. Where will you live once you retire? Where you retire will depend on your lifestyle. Some people like to travel while others prefer to remain close to family. There are many factors that go into deciding where you'll call home. Here are some things to consider before making your final decision. Where you choose to live depends upon many factors, including your age, lifestyle preferences, finances, family considerations, etc. Depending on your needs and wants, you might consider moving closer to relatives or friends or farther away. If you're single, you might want to look into living alone or sharing housing with roommates. If you're married, you might want to think about having children, or perhaps you don't plan to have kids. Your retirement plan should take into consideration your current financial situation, your future goals, and how flexible you want your life to be. Do you want to travel frequently, or do you prefer staying put? What type of work environment do you like? Do you enjoy certain activities, such as golfing, reading books, or volunteering? How important is it to you to maintain a social life? These questions help determine your ideal lifestyle. If you decide to retire early, you'll likely face some challenges. For example, you might find yourself short on savings since you won't receive Social Security benefits until you reach full retirement age. Also, if you're still working part-time. On the other hand, if you can retire earlier, you could spend more time traveling, pursuing hobbies, or spending quality time with loved ones. We discussed some of the most important aspects of planning for retirement. In conclusion, if one wants to retire early, one needs to start saving for it right now. This means that one must set aside a certain amount of money every month into a retirement savings account so that he/she can accumulate enough funds for his/her retirement. The earlier one starts saving, the better off he/she will be because the interest rate earned on these accounts is higher than any investment product out there. Therefore, one should start saving as soon as one gets a job. One may also consider investing in mutual funds or stocks, but they do not guarantee financial security. For example, stock market crashes happen frequently, and people who invest in them lose everything. On the contrary, a retirement savings plan does not require much effort and offers good returns. Thus, one should definitely try to save as much as he/she can. Retirement planning can be difficult. You must take into account your current finances, your future needs, and your family situation before deciding how much to save each month. Start saving today so that you can live comfortably during your golden years. Make sure to take into account your personal situation when deciding which retirement plan is right for you. You should look at your current finances and goals before choosing a retirement plan. When you're planning for retirement, it's important to realize that there are lots of different types of retirement plans out there. And if you want to pick the best one for yourself, you'll need to do some research. Also, make sure that you understand what kind of lifestyle you'd like to lead once you stop working. If you want to go traveling around the globe, then maybe you should think about a travel plan. Or, if you just want to stay put, perhaps you should consider a more traditional plan where you can enjoy things like golfing and spending time with family members. It is important to think about the future when planning for the present. To figure out which retirement plan is best for yourself, talk to an expert in retirement planning first. Take a close look at your financial situation. This is the time to check if you are spending too much money. Be careful not to spend beyond your means. If you do, you might end up having to make difficult decisions later. You may live for a long time. If you think you're not going to be able to work for another 10 years, you might want to start saving now. I'll say that no one knows exactly how long they will live. And no one can predict how many years you will actually live. But you could prepare yourself for your inevitable end by preparing yourself for the life you want and don't want to live. Even if you have a health problem, you can still live a long life by taking good care of yourself. Retirement provides an opportunity to pursue new interests. You might enjoy traveling, playing sports, or taking part in other hobbies. These pursuits require energy and strength, so staying active during retirement is important. Your body could start to decline if you aren't careful, so taking care of yourself will pay off. Make sure you eat right and exercise regularly to avoid getting sick. So, how do you decide whether early retirement is right for you? There are several factors that will affect your decision. If your current health isn't an issue right now, you won't have any major health issues when you retire. Compound interest is lost if you don't invest regularly. Saving money is hard labor. However, you can easily make sacrifices if you wish to save money. For example, you can delay purchasing your dream home until next year. Alternatively, you can cut down on your monthly cable bill rather than purchase a new television. Whatever you choose to do, remember that saving money does mean sacrificing something else. If you don't know whether you're able to save up enough money to achieve your long-term goals, you should probably check out our guide to saving. You can learn more there. You may also be interested in investing. However, investing is an excellent way to generate additional income without having to put in any effort. For example, you could invest in stocks and bonds. You might want to set up an automatic savings plan if you're saving for retirement. Don't just buy things because you want them. Think carefully about whether you really need them. You're going to be spending more than you think. It's important to save money if you want to be able to retire early, but not everyone has saved enough yet. So, start saving now. How much should you save? It depends on your salary and lifestyle. Here's what you need to save in your 20s to retire early. The amount of money needed to retire comfortably varies depending on your current salary and future plans. Don't worry too much about retiring like a king. However, there are certain costs you might incur that you don't want to consider. The main cost of retirement is the amount of money needed to live on after you retire. If your pension doesn't cover your living expenses, you will need another source of income. For example, if you were sick, you would probably need to pay for medical care when you got older. Over time, these expenses add up, even if they're not huge. You must plan ahead and set aside enough money for all of them. Retirement planning means figuring out exactly what you're going to spend during retirement. You need to save enough so that you won't run out of money when you retire. You shouldn't wait until you have tons of money sitting around before you start saving for retirement. You've got plenty of time to waste. It's a wonderful time to relax and enjoy life, but you don't necessarily need to spend it bored out of your mind. You can use some of your spare time to learn something new if you plan to retire early. Some people enjoy watching television, others like playing video games, yet others love reading books. These activities are enjoyable, but they do not require much effort. So why not try something new? Why not pick an activity that requires a little bit of work? Perhaps you could learn how to paint or play an instrument. Both these things are fun. But what if there was a way for you to spend your time doing something meaningful? What if there was a way to spend your time helping others? What if you could help people who have problems? What if you could do something useful? What if someone asked you to help them out? What if they needed help? What if you could help them? What if you could do things for others? What if you could make a difference? What if you could change the world? What if you could save lives? What if you could give back? What if you could get involved? What if you could contribute? What if you could share your talents? What if you could improve the quality of life? What if you could take care of yourself? What if you could learn something new? What if you could grow? What if you could teach someone else? What if you could write about what you know? What if you could tell stories? What if you could create art? What if you could express yourself? What if you were able to solve problems? What if you were given an opportunity to help others? What if you had the chance to help others? What would you do? Having lots of time to kill means you can spend hours reading books, learning new skills, or just relaxing. Doing nothing is an excellent way to relax and unwind after a stressful day. Some people love having lots of time to do nothing because they find it so much easier to focus on themselves rather than worry about work, family, friends, or any responsibilities. Also, if you're single, having lots of time to yourself lets you concentrate without worrying about anyone else. You don't need to be good at anything before starting something new. There's plenty of time for you to start something new. Healthcare is expensive. Most people don't realize that healthcare is actually quite expensive. A single visit to the doctor can easily cost more than $200. Many people pay for their own health insurance coverage at rates exceeding the amount they spend on medical care. Healthcare costs have skyrocketed during the past decade. It's time we start living within our means again. A new CDC study finds that healthcare costs have increased dramatically since 2000. Average cost of treatment rose from $2,943 in 2000 to $4,742 in 2010. You may need to make new friends. If you hang out with the people who make you feel good, you won't be able to stay positive. You might be familiar with the saying, "You'll never get ahead in life if you don't make new friends." But what does it really mean? People grow older and get sicker, and they lose friends and loved ones. But if you're lucky enough to live into old age, you'll also gain wisdom and experience. You may not realize it, but those extra years give you an opportunity to make new friends and enjoy the company of others. So take advantage of every moment you can spend with family and friends. And remember, no matter how old you are, you can always learn something new. But don't despair. There are ways you can keep your social network alive as you age. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Once you start getting older, it's hard not to feel alone. However, if you don't ask for help, you won't ever get any. So, the best way to figure out what you need to accomplish is to ask someone who really knows you well. Most people spend a great deal of time trying to ensure that they're doing everything possible to avoid retirement. They often work much longer hours, spend more income, and postpone important activities such as spending time with family or eating out. However, the reality is that one might need to make new friends and retire early. The main reason behind this is simply because you'll no longer be capable of keeping up your present level of activity forever. If you share an activity, interest, hobby, etc., you may be able to get together regularly. You might also be able to join an interest group that meets frequently or a group that offers activities such as hikes or camping trips. Such groups usually meet once per month or week. You should have a plan for saving and investing for your retirement and know how much money you'll need to retire comfortably. The best place to start is by figuring out your retirement needs, then setting a savings goal based on that number. If you don't know your needs or how much you'll need to save, you can use an internet retirement calculator to help you work through these steps. Once you've figured out how much you need, you can use a retirement calculator to determine how much you need to invest each month in reaching your goal. Retirement planning is about managing risk. When you retire, you no longer work under an employer. You are now responsible for your finances. That is why you must take stock of your current position and ensure that you have adequate coverage and savings to meet any potential needs. We all know that times are tough right now. A lot of people are worried about how much money they'll have saved for retirement. But if you're planning to retire soon, you should already be thinking about ways to increase your savings and invest in your future. You can prepare for an economic downturn by building up your savings and investing in yourself. The best way to ensure you're prepared for a bad economy is not to spend beyond what you earn. Set aside 10% of each paycheck to invest in the stock market. Then, once you've saved enough, take out a small amount of money each week and put it towards your retirement fund. When you reach 65, you'll have enough money to live off of for the rest of your life. There are several common retirement mistakes people make. If you don't have enough savings, start saving now. If you aren't ready for a sudden change in your financial situation, prepare yourself by making sure you have an emergency fund. Retirement planning is a complicated topic that requires careful consideration. Before making any decisions, it is important to understand your own situation. Once you know where you stand financially, you can decide which investments are right for you. Thank you for watching. I hope you find this video helpful. I look forward to seeing you at the next one.